Hi mate, can you come let me in? I'll be in a film. What? Mate, this is what? It's weird. Come to the door, quick! Come on. Dude, you're gonna want to see this, mate. Yeah, something ain't right, mate. Come here.
I mean, honestly, can a man not just take a dump in peace?
Wait, what's that?
What's that? It's a skip.
Yeah, that bite is here.
Yeah. That is pretty weird. I think it's a man doing the Macarena in the middle of the street.
Oh yeah.
These spices are getting worse.
Got to go to South Wales. Oh, go get it out. Go on.
You got too distracted, you do. Next time, try the ketchup song. Just as quickly as it started, Doctor Who is off the air again.
Yeah. Another drought. This time though, not a long one. It's just Christmas is the next one.
Quite long, but we've done worse.
Oh yeah. God yeah. We've done worse for less.
Yeah, this is very true. Well, we just thought we'd take a look back at season 1 of Doctor Who as a whole and just sort of go through our predictions that we made just before it started, a bit of chat about the general series rather than specific episodes, and rank them.
Yeah.
Because rankings are all the rage. So we're going to get straight into it with our predictions. Now, for Space Babies, we both had a very similar prediction for this one. We both said it's going to be an out-and-out comedic episode, which I don't think it was.
No, it had the potential to be, I think. I mean, it was a fun, light episode.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call it out. I was
No, it
thinking
wasn't
something like
out and out.
Partners in Crime. I think we even mentioned that specifically, saying it's going to be full on, turn the comedy up. Obviously, a bit of drama and everything, but that just
Turn the comedy up to 11.
Sorry.
No, that's where I was going to end it. Was that? So it's fine.
That's fair. Yeah, well, this one has been the one that has been the most disliked, I think, overall. And I don't think it's as terrible as people make it out to be, but it's definitely not great. It's fine. I mean, we enjoyed it first time round. I don't know if that was just to do with because oh my god, Doctor Who's back on. We had that and Devil's Called on the same day. I don't know, but overall, it's fine. I think it's carried by Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson just being on fine form. Like rewatching them again, I've rewatched the whole series now. Like those two are on fire, especially in that first 15-20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's just but yeah, I think it sort of does fall apart when the main story kicks in and there's not a great deal to it. I just think it does a good job establishing that dynamic, but overall, yeah.
No, it's it gives me the end of the world vibes with what Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper had.
Yeah.
In that you're looking down on the Earth from a space station, which is an important episode to have. Like their first time in space, you need to tick them off early. So you need to tick off their first time in space, first planet, first time back in time.
Yeah.
Or first time in the future. Those are some things you need to tick off right away for me, which not a lot of people do, but that's just personal preference for me.
I think it's good to do that early because it establishes all the different kind of things. So you can basically, although they can do it very differently in all different time periods, you boil it down to it's either a present day adventure on Earth, a sci-fi futuristic thing, or a historical. Like those are the three that you boil it down into in the first couple of episodes, just to show the different things the show can do. And I think this one did it okay for the sort of spacey one, but
It's a season opener and it's meant to be plot light. You're not meant to get really into the thick of the plot
yeah.
or the thicker plots even on the first episode because you're just reintroducing it to people.
Yeah, and at the same time, it doesn't feel massively like episode one because we get a lot of that in Church on Ruby Road anyway.
Yeah, you get a lot of that first introductions with the Doctor and Millie.
Yeah, you just get it all in there, and this one is more sort of building on that and sort of establishing how their dynamic is. But you know, overall, meh. Devil's Cord prediction. We both again said the same thing. We said it was going to be a musical episode, which it wasn't really. I mean, it's the most musical episode the show has done.
There was a musical number.
Yeah, and there were hints of a few other ones, but they weren't really. I wouldn't call it a musical episode like you would Once More with Feeling in Buffy, for example.
God,
That's
no,
a musical
no,
episode.
that's
That's got 6 or 7 full-on songs in.
I was
whereas-
expecting that with
yeah.
this, to be honest.
Yeah. So I think it was a bit of a disappointment. I think the episode overall is again just directed phenomenally.
Yeah.
And it's really good, and I think it's got one of the most memorable villain performances we've had in a while in Jinx Monsoon. But the musical element just didn't really land, to be honest. I mean, it's a great choreographed number at the end, but it's not like it's wow, what an amazing song. It's catchy,
Yeah.
but it's not one that you go, oh, I really want to put that song on like I would with other songs from musicals, you know? It
Yeah,
doesn't really have that staying power.
It's not one you'd sing a karaoke like Grease or anything.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's not got
not going to
that.
be that.
Which it was never going to be, but you
No.
would have thought there might have been a couple, you know, if they can put the Goblin song on Spotify, you'd think that one would go on there, but
That you hate that song, but my God, that's a good Christmas song.
I just don't like. I mean, I like it when the Doctor and Ruby start singing because it's a bit more like, I see what they're doing. But before that, I'm like, why are they singing? They don't. Anyway,
Sing, you never used to sing before a big feast?
no.
No, not me, to be fair. Yeah, no, for me, I really enjoyed Maestro in this.
Yeah,
She was brilliant. Jinx Monsoon did such a good job with her role.
yeah. And Maestro as a character is just very endearing, and you can see why. You do get a feel for how powerful they really are.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of mystery around them, but at the same time, you can see the devastation that they bring, and it's really, it lands for me. From a villain point of view and from a direction point of view, but I think the musical element, it almost felt like they were holding back a bit, like they weren't committing to it properly. And I would have liked them to just go, right, we're going to do a musical and just go full on, like Once More with Feeling. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting a Doctor Who Once More with Feeling, and maybe that's me. Maybe I set my expectations too high. I don't know, but that's what I was going for, and it just didn't happen. But so for Boom, your prediction was that this is where we're going to see all the dead and destroyed planets from the trailer.
Yeah.
So that was a big.
Ow. I was partially right. There was a dead and destroyed planet, pretty much.
It was a war-torn planet. I wouldn't say it was dead and destroyed because the ones that you were talking about are the ones that Sutekh wipes out in
Yeah,
Empire of
true.
Death. So you weren't. My prediction wasn't really to do with the episode. It was just this will be where Shooty Gatwa clicks for me, and I think I said in the video that was where it was like, yeah, there we go. There've been a little bit. I just need to see a little bit more because the issue when you have 3 quite light-hearted episodes. All right, there's some dark elements in them, but the overall tone of Church on Ruby Road, Space Babies, and Devil's Cord is fun.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, look at this, isn't this cool? And then you go into Boom, where it's like, this is not fun. This is not somewhere I want to be. And then you have those moments. I think the moments of, especially the first 10, 15 minutes, you know, it just doesn't. The only point Boom sort of goes a bit downhill is when all the other characters turn up. But when it's that first 10 minutes of the Doctor and Ruby, and he's reciting the poems and they're singing, just trying to keep him calm. And the dialogue is really like Moffat does quite often have some poor dialogue, but also he has written some of the most beautiful lines in Doctor Who history, and that was on full display here.
Yeah.
You know,
This is definitely one of his stronger episodes.
yeah, it's definitely the best episode he's written in a while. I mean, there's not been that many, but he did go out on fairly good high, provided we don't talk about Twice Upon Time. But the finale to Series 10 is really, really good.
Oh, solid.
So yeah, I think the break did him some good, old Moffat.
Yeah. Boom for me is it's one of my top picks for this season overall. Yeah.
Teasing.
It's definitely up there for me. I really enjoy this whole. The Doctor is absolutely powerless here. There's nothing he can do. He has to use his brain to really think his way out of this situation. It's not something you get a lot with Doctor Who these days
No.
because they've always got the sonic screwdriver, and that's one thing I have thoroughly loved with this season. That's kind of become just a tool.
Yeah.
Now it's not just, oh, look, there's air here. Oh, we can breathe it. Well done.
Yeah, it's not felt overpowered at any point either.
No.
You know, there is that moment where he sort of uses it in Devil's Core to blank out the sound, but he makes a point of going, I can only do this once, so I can't do that again. Now, that's that.
Yeah,
That's that
you only
trick
get
used.
one with the gods. Like, it's,
Yeah, you know, I think it really works of having it just as a tool for opening or scanning computers or like playing around with sound systems and that sort of thing.
or getting Carla access to Unit Tower.
Yeah, you know, stuff like hacking into computers, that's all fine. It's when it's being used as a magic wand, really.
Yeah,
You know, sort of-
it really cheapens it for me.
or just over and unnecessarily using it to explain things that are common sense.
Or in Matt Smith's era, using it to shoot lasers out of.
Yeah, I mean that just, you know, for me that doesn't really work. But you know, anyway, speaking of things that do work though, 73 yards. Now I predicted that this one is Dr. Light, so I think that's the first one where I can absolutely get a tick for getting
Yeah.
that right. I mean, I did get where that's where shoot clicks for me, but because that's not do the plot, I'm only going to give myself half a point there.
Fair.
Because it's not really actually to do with the plot of the episode, because I could say that about anything. So, but yeah, this is Dr. Light, and I thought that from the off, I thought there was going to be a bit of a focus on Ruby, which there was, and I absolutely loved it. Your prediction for this was, and I quote, spooky wooky. And then you went on to explain it was more to do with like the sort of jump scares and the atmosphere, which there definitely is a bit
Yeah,
of.
yeah, it's not as much as I thought there would be. I think
I think a lot of us thought that though. A lot
yeah.
of it, we all thought, you know, when you see that trailer, you think, oh, this is all going to be in the pub or something, but maybe a few scenes afterwards or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you get the little, I wouldn't even call it a jump scare, but you get that bit at the end where old Ruby is in that care home, nursing home thing. She's gone to sleep, called the lights back on, and you just got this woman just stood there, just lights going off, the door slams shut. Like, that was the only real jump scary bit there. You just see the lights flicker on as she goes towards Ruby, and then it kind of
Yeah.
undoes itself a bit for me.
Yeah, I think for me, I like that it does the both. I would have just liked to have seen more of both. I would
Yeah.
have much rather have had this as a two-part, where the
Yeah,
first part
it's-
is the scary atmospheric stuff, because the whole thing's got this atmosphere to it
Yeah.
of Ruby constantly being stalked by this woman that's always at the same distance away from her. No matter, like, if she takes a couple of steps forward or miles away, she's always following Ruby. I think that's quite creepy, and it's very, you know, it's spooky. There's an atmosphere and a tension to it. There wasn't as many sort of out and out horror like jump scares.
No.
You sort of get that bit in the pub with the knocking, but
That
that
bit of
doesn't
tension
really.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just used for comedic effect then.
Yeah, it's more of a psychological horror than an out and out spooky rah kind
Yeah.
of thing. But you know, I still think it's wonderful. I think it's,
Oh,
it's
it
brilliant.
is brilliant. It was definitely one of the stronger episodes of the season again.
Yeah,
It's a shame because they had two of them, and then it looked like they were on. They had three. They had three a good episode, two brilliant episodes, and then we got to Dot and Bubble.
yeah. We'll talk about the ranking of each episode more when we actually come to it. But the prediction that you had for this one was subtle preaching about social media.
I think I was kind of right on that
I'll
one.
give you that one. I don't know if it's necessarily subtle.
No,
it does
it
form
was-
the basis of the episode, but it is. Yeah,
being
I think
so engrossed in your devices that you don't see what's around you, and
Yeah.
just like you could walk off a cliff.
yeah,
sort of
it was definitely you get a point there. I said it was about a look at technology and the reliance on it, which kind of is true, but it's more. The episode is about social media, but under that it's the idea of creating sort of white supremacist echo chambers through the use of social media. And you know, I like the political aspects of this story. You know, if you can call them political, and then, well, you know what I mean, like the sort of social commentary that really works. It's just the other stuff that just doesn't land for me at all. But we'll get
It's
into that
just
on
the
the list.
story itself for me that doesn't land.
Yeah, it's you know it's fine. It's fine.
It's another episode where Millie and Shooty only in it at the end of it, and that is the best part of the episode. Like, the only really in it, I should say.
Yeah,
At
I
the
mean,
end of it.
this is what I mean. I've got to be careful when I talk about this one because I don't want to make it sound like I think that this episode is a load of rubbish. Like you know, I'll come into the ranking. We'll carry on with the predictions for now because
Yeah.
so far the scores are quite even. Because I think,
It's 1-0.
yeah. Oh, and we both got, no, I don't know. The scores will be on the screen anyway. I'll score them properly later when I'm thinking more. I definitely got Dr. Light right, and you got Preach About Social Media.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got half a point for there. You can have half a point for there. We are. Yeah, it is neck and neck. 1.5 out of 1.5 out of 4, 5 even. I can't count. We're not doing very well.
No.
What I did get completely right though, Rogue. There's a lot of talk about Rogue and the casting of Jonathan Groff, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's going to be Captain Jack." And my prediction was straight: he's not going to be Captain Jack because it doesn't make any sense. And another tick.
No, I think I got a tick here as well because I said this would be the Doctor's love interest.
Yeah, you said it'd be the first gay kiss for the Doctor or something like that, which it was. So yeah, there's not much to say about that. We got that spot on, both of us. Well, that's nice.
Again, it was a fun episode as well. I really enjoyed that one.
One that you didn't get particularly spot on though. Your prediction for the Legend of Ruby Sunday that it would be Dr. Light.
No, I did not, because I took from the title thinking, oh, okay, this is all going to be focused on Ruby. It could just be like a turn left.
Yeah, there was a focus on Ruby, but it wasn't Dr. Light.
No.
He's there, front and centre. My prediction was Susan Triad is the big bad. Half a point?
I'll give you half a point on that.
Half a point. She's being used by the big bad.
Yeah.
And, does kill a lot of people with her dust. So, yeah, we both absolutely have no idea for what this prediction means. We don't know yet. We were said both for Empire of Death that it was going to be this sort of unit backdoor pilot. Because we just assumed that something would be announced by now, because we keep hearing different rumours of like a Sea Devil spin-off or a unit spin-off, or maybe they're one in the same, and we don't really know yet. So I don't think none of us get a point for that, because we don't know yet. Overall, though, we made 2 more predictions for the series. There's 8 episodes, I thought might as well do 2 more to make it a nice round 10. My predictions were Mrs. Flood would not be completely revealed by the end of this year, and we'd only get a few hints and teasers, which is
bang on.
Spot on. We don't know who she is, but we had a bit more of her being a bit spooky, a bit sort of, a bit creepy.
Really hoping for something by the end of this series about Mrs. Flood.
Because your prediction was that Mrs. Flood will be explained in The Legend of Ruby Sunday, which is a...
I was close.
So it means it
was a big bloody tease in that one.
Yeah.
It was probably the biggest tease this whole finale was the biggest tease we've had so far of Mrs. Flood.
Yeah, I think you said in the video something along the lines of like, I think we'll know more about Mrs. Flood and we'll have a bit more of like more of like explanation of what she's doing. And I said, and I think it's going to be a next year thing. I think we might get a few hints and a few teasers, but which we definitely got, and we don't know. We still don't know. It's for next year.
Yeah.
And then I think we both get half a point for these, because my other prediction was that...
half a point my ass. I got that spot on.
I'm coming to it. My prediction was that Ruby will be the best companion in years. For me, she absolutely is, but I thought there'd be more of a positive reaction to her than there has been. I thought a lot of people have gone, yeah, she's great, but yeah, I thought she'd be taking a much higher spot in people's ratings, but... well, each to their own. For me personally, she is, so that's a 0 point. That's a half mark for me. Yours was that the main arc of the season will be about Ruby. Now, I don't think you're wrong, but I think it's split quite evenly with
Ruby's
the Susan
mum.
Triad thing.
And,
I'll give you Ruby's mum. Ruby,
I'll give you that and that. Yeah.
So
I see what you mean. Though,
it starts off very much about Ruby and Ruby's parents and why it's snowing and everything, and then we get more into the sort of, who's this woman? And the Doctor and Ruby start recognising her, which leads into the finale, and then they both come to a conclusion. So I think it's not the main arc of the series, but I can't deny that it does obviously play. It's half of the arc. It's one half of the arc, and the other half is the Susan Twist characters that we keep seeing. So
overall, you put it like that, I would say half is fair.
See, don't worry. I've been thinking. I am fair. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. You've got to give me that. That's what I meant to say. Those are our predictions. Some of those we got wildly wrong. Some of them we're nearly there, and some of them we got spot on. So
yeah, Rogue we definitely got spot on.
Yeah, that's the
only,
objectively that's bang on
money. So I'm going to put these on. I know they're the sunglasses inside, but they're my prescription glasses, and I can't actually read without them.
We're ranking them in case you couldn't tell.
We are
had
ranking
to cut
them.
some stuff out there, and you just went straight into it without introducing. So we are ranking the episodes now. We've counted the finale as 1, so it's from 7th to 1st.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about where we would place them if we were to split the finale and ranking them just on the episodes themselves.
Yeah. So in 7th place, we have, for me anyway, Dot and Bubble. In 6th, Space Babies. 5th, we have the finale 2-parter. 4th is Rogue. 3rd is Devil's Cord. 2nd is 73 Yards, which is going to be one for talking about for us too. And I've put Boom as my favourite episode of this series.
Oh, congratulations to Boom. Mine is from worst to best. Dot and Bubble, Space Babies, Rogue, the finale, The Devil's Cord, Boom, and then 73 Yards in top place because I think it's a masterpiece and I adore it. I did think when I was rewatching them, I thought there was a couple of those because I made these. I made this as a prediction for my prediction of my ranking, if that makes sense. Before I sort of ranked them before I watched it, and I thought if I'll change them round, I might change them round after I've watched them all, see how I feel. And when I was watching Boom, I thought, well, this might actually top 73 Yards, you know? And then I watched 73 Yards again and I was like, no, it won't. Because there's a bit of a gap for my prediction. So it's sort of like 73 Yards, Boom, Devil's Cord finale, Rogue, Space Babies, Dot and Bubble.
Dot and Bubble's
Because
right at the bottom.
If we go through them, sort of like if we talk about Dot and Bubble now, because I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at me because I've not seen anyone else put that in worse because that sort of was universally acclaimed basically, and I get it because it's got a great ending, but a really powerful and moving ending scene does not make up for half an hour of shite.
No. No, it was pure crap that first half hour.
I did clock quite quickly that all of Lindy's friends were all white. I was like, this is a bit.
Yeah,
unusual.
but you just didn't see.
But-
We didn't clock how she was treating the Doctor, but she wasn't. She was treating Ruby differently in a similar set.
Yeah, I put that down to more the fact that she was like, oh my god, another little girly girl to be like pally
Yeah.
with, and I could sort of almost big myself up to. Whereas the Doctor was like, well, I don't need him. But there are other lines that I just didn't hear. And there's other even with the whole episode, not just about the Doctor and everything. But even now, I can appreciate what they've done with it, and I think it was well acted from Callie Cook as Lindy. She acts it very well. But when you're spending the first 30, 35 minutes on a character that is just genuinely unlikable, I find it quite hard because you can have unlikable characters, or you can have bad characters that you still find likable.
Yeah, this is a bad character who is just the most horrible person.
Yeah,
as well.
I can't engage with that if I'm not like if I were to say go back to Buffy as an allegory. Spike is not a good person.
No.
Even when he sort of stops, killing people, he's got the chip. He still does some very dreadful things, especially to Buffy.
He's likable.
But he's got that sort of. They give him that sort of like dual, and not even like a duality. They give him a bit of a compass, and he does come to sort of rectify that. But he's still, by definition, a really shit person. Whereas so is Lindy, but because we just see her as her absolute worst the whole time. But not only that, she's annoying, and I have no sympathy for her. Even when she's about to be eaten by the slugs, I'm like, I don't care. I literally don't care. I think it was a really bizarre decision to do 2 back-to-back Doctor Light episodes. It's not as Doctor Light as 73 Yards.
Yeah,
But-
it was a bit of a rough decision.
Yeah, I mean, I know circumstance, couldn't be helped or whatever, but you just think, would you put, like, I think the order of these in broadcast order is all over the shop.
Yeah, I do think that they messed about with the order on.
Yeah.
Eventually, they chopped and changed stuff.
Especially with watching them start to finish when
Yeah,
they're all out,
it's
you can tell.
all over the place.
There's bits in the Devil's Cord that I think I mentioned this when we talk about Rogue and how they should be in they should swap positions. That Devil's Cord is much more like the one who waits is almost here, and the oldest one at the night of her birth. How could he be there? Like right before the finale, that works. And then in Rogue, you sort of get the clock in the painting, but not being like, oh, that's the ambulance lady and the mum from Fine Time and all of that. It makes a bit more sense to have that there, and I think it's a better introduction to have a better thing to go from futuristic spacey one to past one, and then into Boom 3, and then 73 Yards. Anyway, that's what we're getting at here. Yeah. Dot and Bubble, like I said, it just is a great ending, and it's some really clever and really well done social commentary. It's just a shame that it's got 30 minutes of just unlikable characters being unlikable and annoying, which is the worst combination. And there's not even a sense of, oh, well, I can see why we did all that to get to this. It's just like you can tell that this is just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
And I think I still stand by the fact that if you're going to do an episode touching on the Doctor's race swap, essentially, that it should be given more than just like, let's do this for a twist, rather than let's do an actual story and do it properly. I mean,
It deserves a better story itself.
Yeah.
Like, we're not saying we're definitely not saying there's anything wrong with doing this.
Oh, absolutely. Do it.
This needs to be done, but you need to have the story to match the seriousness of the situation.
Yeah.
And you need to have it needs to be a Doctor heavy episode as well, I think.
Yeah, I agree. This just like 73 yards doesn't feel like a victim of circumstance because it's an interesting story and it puts the focus on Ruby to like develop her character. Whereas if they put the focus on a sort of random guest character we're never going to see again because it's just easier to have the Doctor and Ruby on a Zoom call for the majority of the episode. But I don't know. It has its fans, and that's fine. Like, this is just my opinion. I like it. I just like having my Doctor Who episodes with at least one of the regular cast in a proper position. And if they're going to do something as serious as this, I think they need to be a bit more respectful and going, well, let's have this in the episode where all the posh kids are dancing to Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny. It just don't work for me. What did we both put next? Space Babies, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about that at the start. It's
Yeah.
not as bad as people make it out to be. It's not great, but it's got some.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's carried by those two. It's got a cracking score by Murray Gold. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got for that one.
I don't have much else to add. I think, well, the memes that have come from that episode with the finale now, I've seen that Eric going down the things. I'm going to go and tell that doggo off.
Yeah, the stuff like
it's just like with
the
that. No,
doggo
it's just been but now I've seen that with Sutek.
Yeah, no,
It's cracked me up a bit.
it's a funny meme, yeah, but it doesn't make up for.
Oh no, God, we got screwed hard.
Yeah, I wasn't that bothered about the babies either. I thought they all looked a bit creepy the way their mouths were moving. Obviously, they can't make babies talk in real life, but when the mouths are clearly moving, even though the babies are just sort of like staring dead-eyed, it just looks a bit, it's a bit weird looking. I think they should have done, even if the babies were just talking telepathically or something, would have been much less uncanny valley sort of thing. Good performance by Golda Rochevelle as Jocelyn, but yeah, that's all I will say on that one really. What did you put after that?
I went with you put Rogue. I went with the finale.
Yeah, see, now if we were ranking the finale separately, Legend of Ruby Sunday would probably be my number 2.
See, I'd put that as my number 4 purely because of what happens in the Empire of Death. Because I struggled to separate them.
Oh yeah,
from that.
Well, we both came away from Legend of Ruby Sunday saying that was the best one.
Yeah.
And
even
even
we were
when I was
so
watching
deflated after Empire of Death, though.
Yeah. Well, when I was watching Legend of Ruby Sunday the other day, it was the first time I'd seen it since the finale had come out. I was just sort of like going, this is really good. How did they drop the ball this much? So I couldn't really enjoy it as much as I had like the first. Like I loved it the first time, and the second time, and the third time. Do you know what I mean?
Like especially in the cinema. My God, that was incredible.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna leave my comments on direction till like we talk about the series as a whole. But yeah, it did. It felt really special, and you know, it's hard to still sort of hold this one in a high esteem because we know that all the setup that we get, we know where it all goes.
Yeah.
And none of it's particularly satisfying, but as its episode on its own, it'd probably be my number 2 because there is still great stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels very Doctor Who. It feels very part when you're like, oh, this is all building something. It doesn't anymore. But yeah, I put Rogue as my what's it? My 5th place pick because there's some great stuff in there. I think it looks great. The costumes are all fun. Ruby mentions Bridgerton one too many times for me. I find the birds a bit silly. Not that there's anything wrong with Doctor Who doing alien, like animal monsters things, but just some of them just look ridiculous. I think Jonathan Groff as a character was fine, but I don't like the fact that he's just a bit one note for the first like half of the episode. But it's a really nice romance, and it is obviously gutting to see that they don't make it out, but we knew that was going to happen anyway, and it's obvious that he's going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
Provided they can get Jonathan Groff again. I'm sure there are plans, maybe not next year, maybe the year after. I could see him sort of coming back for like Shooting Atlas last episode or something like that.
Oh, he's got to. They've set that up nicely.
Yeah.
For me, I put Rogue as my 4th.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about both of them because we both
Yeah.
put the finale and Rogue sort of opposite ways.
So Rogue for me was, I did really enjoy the episode. Again, it was fun. It didn't really need to read too much into the plot. You got to see the Doctor actually dealing with rage.
Yeah.
Here as well, which is something like you've had the upset, the oh crap, I'm about to die moment with Boom, and now you've got I've promised Ruby's mum that I'm going to look after her, and now she's gone.
Yeah.
Moment, which again is a really important moment. It was like, oh, I've really just screwed up here. I need to fix this. He's like 600 years is a long is a long time to suffer.
Yeah, and you get that sort of flashback to him talking to Carla, which should have been
Yeah,
at
should have
some
been.
point
It should have
in
been
an
earlier
episode,
on.
but
Again, that's probably down to the order.
yeah, I
where it
could
comes
see
in.
that sort of that you'll keep us safe being like a sort of deleted scene from the end of Space Babies or something, or like the very start of this episode. Maybe if this was episode 2. Do you see what I
Yeah.
mean about this? Should really feel like an. I'd be interested to do a rewatch of this series with this in episode 2. You know,
Yeah.
And then have Boom in the middle of 73 yards and Dot and Bubble to just sort of balance out that Doctor Light aspect to it. Because by the time Rogue came round, it felt like we hadn't seen the Doctor in like ages. I was like, oh yeah, of course, the Doctor's here. What a weird thing to have in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's a strange way of doing it, but
Yeah, it's just Rogue was just a lot more fun for me than I think a lot of people felt it was good, but not great.
Yeah, I mean, a
so
lot
I'm
of
in
people
that
would,
same boat, but I do feel it belongs higher up that list,
yeah.
especially after that god awful finale.
Well, yeah, the finale, like we were talking about, you know, we won't go too much into it because we only reviewed it last week, but like there's bits of that are just fantastic. I mean, all of Legend of Ruby Sunday, and there's some great scenes in Empire of Death, like where he's on the distant planet with Sean Clifford. You know, I like the stuff with Mel. I like the memory TARDIS set and everything. But the idea of Sutekh being on the TARDIS since Pyramids of Mars is so stupid when you could have obviously just done it in Wild Blue Yonder because the TARDIS is malfunctioning at the end of the universe. It drops its shield or something and Sutekh is able to manifest, slap back onto it. That's the first time we see Susan Twist.
It makes sense.
It just makes so much more sense than going,
Yeah.
you know, all the things that have happened to the TARDIS since Pyramids of Mars. Well, Sutek's just been chilling there, you know, being thrown into the Crucible, you know, the Crucible Dalek ship, the Big Bang, you know, where the TARDIS explodes, but Sutekh is able to be like, yeah, well, I'll be remembered back into existence with the TARDIS at the same time Amy does, even though I've been hiding this whole time. It makes no sense for, I think, him to hide for all the time and then go, get a PR team, like graphics design, we'll launch a new technology that we don't actually talk about. We just know it's some sort of technology they're giving away for free.
Yeah.
I think the unit stuff is fine, but we don't get any of it really in the second part.
No, you just see Unit die and then come back to life just to use their basically cameras to find Ruby's mum.
Yeah, I don't mind that so much because they get the data from the future in the alternative, you know, the 2046 timeline, and they have like the name and everything then, and they can go back and with the name they can find out who and where Louise is. And it's a well acted scene where Ruby reunites with Louise, and it's a nice scene where they say goodbye. It just feels like it's so over the top, like from both of them. And I don't often criticise Shooting Out Emily Gibson, but that scene, as nice as it is, and it's not badly acted, I just think it's a bit too much because they're crying like they're never going to see each other again, and we know that she's back next year anyway.
Yeah.
I think it might hold a bit more weight if they manage to keep that under wraps, but because people keep leaking things, you know who you are. We knew that anyway, and before they even had to announce sort of the three of them being there. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that Empire of Death should have done a lot differently.
Yeah.
For me, and I think it would hold a lot more, but it's held up by the Legend of Ruby Sunday. Because I talked about where I put Legend of Ruby Sunday. If I just ranked Empire of Death on its own, it would probably be just above Dot and Bubble, maybe. No, it'd be above Space Babies.
Okay.
It'd be above Space Babies.
That's not horrendous.
Just because it feels a bit more like typical Doctor Who, but not in a good way. It's the typical things that Doctor Who does wrong, like reset buttons. I hate reset buttons unless they're earned. There's no stakes to anything that happens in The Legend of Ruby Sunday because we know everyone comes back to life.
Yeah.
It's just, it should have been done a lot more, just better.
Yeah.
It should have just been better.
Yeah.
Moving on then to, I put The Devil's Cord in 3. Did you?
I did the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we talked about this one before. It's fun. It's got a great villain. It should have gone more into the musical territory, but
again, could have, as a running theme through the series, it needed that extra 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well in the sort of overall wrap up.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff in this that just feels very rushed and sort of. Oh right, we've only got 10 minutes left to wrap up everything. Oh god, right, done.
Yeah, it just kind of goes hell for leather from after the Doctor and Ruby kind of come out of their little cellar.
Yeah, the only 2 episodes of this entire series that are paced properly is Boom and The Legend of Ruby Sunday. But I can't even say that about Legend of Ruby Sunday because it's part 1.
Yeah.
you know. But boom, and it's set mostly in real time, which helps,
Yeah.
you know, because there's no cutting away and having things happen hours later. We are on the Doctor in that crater. We'll come on to that actually, because we haven't talked about that. Because that's my second place pick. That's your first place pick. So
Yes.
I'll let you explain why you
So
love it.
I
Not question you,
this
because I love it too. It's
yeah.
second place for a reason.
It's for me. It's just that Doctor heavy episode. You're seeing him vulnerable. You're seeing him without his toys, having to get himself out of a situation. It feels like classic Doctor Who for me, in that sense. Your Doctor's gotten himself into a situation trying to help people. He's got himself stuck, and he's got to figure out a way out of it, knowing that any wrong move he is done. There's that, you've got that tension all the way through, even with people coming in, especially when Splice comes running in and he's like, yeah, no, stop her now.
Yeah.
Because he wants to keep them all safe at a safe distance.
Yeah.
You've got the nice little callback to not Capaldi,
That's Smith.
Troughton
Troughton.
with the song.
Yes. And Power the Doctor as well.
And Power the Doctor, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it is very classic Who in the sense that there's no sort of big gizmos, and I quite like the idea that not only is the Doctor literally on the back foot, he's having to win these people over as well. Like, he's not just immediately, they don't recognise, oh, this is a civilian on a landmine. They're like, who are you?
Yeah, but they've not seen the enemy before, so they assume he's
One of them.
One of them, and they don't know what to do. You've got that bit with Monday where she's like, well, he's on a landmine, he's done for, like, there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, especially because the landmine sort of uses that person as the explosive, and because of the Doctor being a complex space-time event and thousands of years old, it'll rip half the planet off, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you there. I think it is great. I think the only issue I have with it is just it doesn't even drag. I think the AI bad thing happened twice this year. And I'm just like, we know AI is bad. It's a bit old hat, really, to do that again. Or not again, because it happens first in this, then later on in Dot and Bubble. But it just feels, I felt that the resolution was a bit like, what? So the hologram is downloading himself from him, like, through the Doctor into the thing, and he's shutting it down. But I was like, but the AI would have safeguards to do that, surely.
Yeah, unless it didn't think it was possible.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that is, yeah. I mean,
but I mean, again, idea. No, it does. As all these episodes do, it does suffer with that time allowance for the episode. Again, 5-10 minutes more of just the Doctor and Ruby.
Yeah,
like, this would be the perfect episode for me.
Yeah, because my only criticism with that sort of moment until he puts his foot down and Mundy and Splice show up is just that I want to see more of this. There should have been more of an obstacle to get through, and a bit more of the Doctor, like, really on the edge of blowing up, and Ruby having to do. I would have liked for Ruby to have a bit more in terms of, rather than just being a metronome and grabbing the corpse to
the fleshlight.
Yeah, the fleshlight to sort of calm him down a bit more. Which I think would have helped if this was a little bit later in the series, but again, I'll stop going on about that. So I will reverse picks then. So your second place, my first place, 73 yards. It's genius.
It is brilliant. I know it was. I mean, I was confused as hell at first watching this. I can't remember if I'd had a drink or not before.
We had been to the pub, yeah.
We had. Yeah. So I'd had a couple by this point.
Yeah.
Which probably didn't help with my head.
I just really like the open-endedness of this. I mean, this is exactly what other people don't like it, and I completely get it. This is one of those ones I can't go. It's not like a sort of Wild Beyonder where I go, how can you not like that one? I just don't think. This is more of one's going, I get why this might not be for you, but this is right up my street, the sort of open-ended nature of it. Like, I love stories like this where it's sort of like there's a spooky goings on and you don't get everything explained, but you get enough that you can sort of form your own conclusion, but there's not a definite, like someone compared it almost to like a David Lynch film in a way that it's not, it's nothing's really concretely explained. I came up with the explanation of the woman that's stalking Ruby is obviously, we know, is the old Ruby, and it's because it's not her taking her over, it's Ruby dying and becoming and having to stop herself living through that to bind the spirit of Mad Jack, which is right. I go and watch our review of it because I sort of came up with that. I came up with an explanation for it which seems to fit. But it doesn't have to be the explanation for it. I mean, it's open to interpretation, and that's why I love it. Also, I think Millie Gibson is phenomenally good in it. For her first episode that she filmed,
Yeah.
knocks it out of the park. I think it's got some really lovely location work, which I would say.
Yeah, Cardiff City Stadium looks beautiful every day of the week.
The only thing, as I'd say, is like you said, I think it needs a bit more time to. I would have liked to have a bit more in the pub, a bit less of a rushed ending in the stadium, and the Ruby makeup, I suppose, could have been a bit better. But then at the end of the day, it's very difficult to make an 18-year-old look like a 40-something-year-old. Not that 40-year-olds look really old or whatever.
No, but
I am not being horrible, but
wow.
but you know what I mean. There is a gap of age there.
Yeah, you'll be able to. There will be an aging there that you'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
I don't look like I did at 18, and I'm only 26 now. You get. I will hit you.
I mean, I don't look a day over 18.
Sorry, did that come out quickly?
No, but you don't look the same at 18. And I certainly won't look like this when I'm 40 if I make it that far. So I just think there are things like that, but that's sort of quite difficult. Like, what were they really going to do? I think if they'd gone full on old age, it would have just looked really stupid because again, like, you made her too old then to be 40.
Yeah,
but
it's
is
a
just
fine
case
line.
of they have just stuck her in her glasses and a wig.
Yeah.
But
works.
yeah, I mean, it does the job. You get the feeling that she's older. But overall, I think it's a fantastic episode. Should we wrap up then, just to talk about the series as a whole in terms of the arcs and everything, and what we liked about like constant things? Because I think every single episode of this series was directed fantastically.
Yeah.
Which is I was worried about because I think Church on Ruby Road looks like shit. Not all of it, but there are like the unnecessarily extreme close-ups when people are just having a conversation is just bizarre. But there's a real sort of stylistic, like Ben Chessel and Dylan Holmes Williams are the two that really sort of knocked it out of the park with. I mean, Ben Chessel did Rogue and The Devil's Cord. The Devil's Cord has a lot of cool angles and sort of use of reflections and slow-mo and all that. And Dylan Holmes Williams did 73 Yards, which is just he really managed to find the tension of the close-ups of people in the pub and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's where it worked.
Yeah,
I think.
I love the stuff like the random cutting of the Doctor on the landmine to come from close up to sort of here to like his foot on the landmine to back to here. Stuff like that from Julianne Robinson really worked. Jamie Donaghy was great with the finale, although it was not a great script. It looked brilliant. It looked really, really good.
Yeah.
In fact, the only real issue with the finale is the script because it's acted and directed fantastically, and the music is great. It's just the actual narrative. But another thing I loved about the whole series, Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson.
Yeah, they really work bloody well.
Dynamite casting, the two of them.
Really good job by Russell on this one. Yeah, definitely cannot wait to see more of them this season. I know we're not getting a full season with Millie, but I'm more than happy that she's coming back.
Yeah, for someone who was a bit apprehensive about Ncuti Gatwa, not that I thought he was bad, not that I thought he wasn't right for the role, I just was like, I just need him to be a bit more put through hell for a bit, for him to bring out that really sort of the serious side of Doctor. And once that came out, I was like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah,
very, very good.
It was boom where it clicked for you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was that, he's screwed now. Let's see how he gets out of this one.
But like I said in the review, I said this one will make or break the 15th Doctor because you could easily go into the sort of overacting sort of thing or even playing it too calm. He just finds the right balance of you can tell that he's panicking, but you believe it's the sort of the Doctor being calm enough to make things happen, And Ruby, I think, is great. I love Ruby. I think she's the best companion since Donna Noble. She's better than any Moffat or Chibnall era companion by a mile. She's got an interesting arc, which doesn't really satisfy me in the way it would.
Still better than The Timeless Child.
Yeah, true. I don't like how that it was presented to us as a mystery box of who Ruby and like the weird who could Ruby's mum be.
Yeah, no, it was rough.
It was more the fact that they turned around and was like, well, she's only important because we, as in the audience, made her important. It's like, no, you did that. Because that's how you presented it. Also, magic lampposts that appear in episodes that weren't in other episodes. But,
oh, yeah. Continuity was a slight problem.
Yeah, and I think we've both mentioned this, I think, in the majority of episodes, but pacing, I think Doctor Who has
Yeah.
gone past the 45-minute mark. I mean, we already had that in Chibnall.
Yeah,
We had that 55 minute, and that works.
Yeah, it needs that 55 to an hour, like a minute sort
Yeah.
of job.
Because I think that, all right, there's a lot of things wrong with some of the stories in the Chibnall era, but not many of them, I don't really feel like, how are they going to wrap this up in the next 10 minutes? Like, I'm sort of seeing where we're getting to in the conclusion, whatever the quality of them, I can see where we are. Whereas there's a couple of times I sort of looked at my watch when some of these episodes were on going, how are they going to get all this done in like 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, I was doing the same actually. I got to half an hour in. I was like, right, we got 15 minutes and we don't seem any closer to wrapping up.
Yeah, we seem at the same sort of
of.
point that we were 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, it still seems like they're building up to the big ending.
Yeah.
And then you just get it in 5 minutes and then you get that jolly little couple of minutes after the big bad is defeated.
Yeah. But I think overall it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's,
Yeah.
in terms of, there's some great stuff in there. There's like 73 Yards and Boom, fantastic. I really enjoyed The Devil's Cord and Legend of Ruby Sunday, and Rogue was fine, and the other three need a lot of work, but still all have elements of them that are great. But it is a mixed bag for me overall, and I think the issue I have with this is that this should have been another mission statement series like we have with the first series of Revival Who Under Russell with Eccleston and Piper, because there's not, all right, yes, it pushes the boat out with what they can do now in the 21st century, but the storytelling is pretty much, it's not, I wouldn't even say bland, it's structured and you know what you're going to get. Whereas the experimental nature of this series, I think, should have been left till next year. I think things like 73 Yards, Dot and Bubble, Devil's Cord, that should have all been like a next year thing, because they're so unlike other episodes of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Even Boom to an extent.
But then, given the finale, and obviously everything going on, I think, like everything going back to the giggle and the god characters coming in.
Yeah.
I think we've not seen the end of the gods now.
Oh, absolutely not.
I'm genuinely looking forward to it, because they do tend to be some of the stronger episodes from in the past. Like,
yeah, I would have
obviously
been looking
Empire
forward to
of
it until
Death.
Empire of Death happened, and now
Yeah.
my anticipation for more gods is going to be like, they're just going to be literally putting like a skip or something stupid. If we can put the God of Death into the time vortex where he's just been flying through for the last thousands of years after defeating him that way in Pyramids of Mars, but now he's dead, I've got no hope for it. So if they bring the Mara back, I'll be like, oh, that's sick, but this is going to go flipping stupid anyway.
No, you won't. You'll be just as excited.
Yeah, I'll be excited when it happens, but in the back of my head I'll go, well, this isn't just going to stick the landing, is it? It's just not.
Yeah.
But, I definitely think we've obviously got the ongoing thing with the Pantheon. We've got Mrs. Flood.
Yeah.
We've got whoever Varada Sethu's playing, where Ruby comes back into things and the dynamic of the three of them. Will we see other characters like Rogue again? Obviously, I can imagine we'll see Cherry and Carla again. Hopefully
I
Mel.
hope so.
I hope we haven't seen the last of Mel. I think Bonnie Langford's all but sort of leaked, well, not leaked, but I think she sort of let it slip that she is in next year, which I'm really happy about. I think mixed bag.
Yeah.
For me personally, it was. I know people have, I'd slated it or loved it. I'm very much in the middle, because of like my thoughts on like half of the episodes being either really good or pretty good. The entire episode ranges from crap to fantastic, and everything in between.
Yeah,
It's a real sort of like variety.
It is a mixed bag.
It's like a box of Quality Street. Some of them I love. Some of them are fine, but I wouldn't go and pick them out of the box first. Others, put in the bin. But
yeah, it's like the celebrations. The box is empty when the bounties are left. Like,
yeah,
that's all it is. And yes, I am hating on bounties. If anyone is gonna come at me for that,
we've said much worse things that people have not yet crucified us for. Although we have both put Dot and Bubble at the bottom of this, which is definitely going to get on some people's nerves.
Yep.
But like I said, you can't just rate an episode because it's got a fantastic ending and some good social commentary when the other half of the episode is terrible.
Yeah.
But let us know what you think about Series 1 as a whole. What are you excited about next year? What do you agree with us? What do you disagree with us? Let us know. Before we do properly wrap up, bit of news. We're taking a little break. This isn't the end.
Yeah.
But the moment has been prepared for.
Yeah, we just need to have a bit of time away from filming.
Yeah.
It's been quite full on. Now the new season's back, it's just I think it's something we'll probably do. It's only going to be a couple of weeks. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing major.
Nothing major. Just we just need to have a break. 'Cause we're both quite busy at the moment as well.
But yeah, no, it's not going to be long at all. We just the thing is, we're doing this so that we can find time to plan more interesting things. I mean, you saw from the start of this video, we're going to try and do a few more strange, we're not going to do a sketch show, although we could do a sketch show. But we're going to do stuff. I think one of the first things we've got penciled in at some point is a quiz involving hot chilies.
Yeah, I'm dreading that one.
Some drunk commentaries, some more stuff out and about, visiting places, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just so we're not stuck in here all the time. But we will be doing that stuff. I mean, obviously we've got our 8th Doctor series, which will be the main thing we're carrying on within here.
Yeah.
Plus the odd other thing, you know, we might have something else to review before the end of the year if they decide to sort of drop some more Tales of the TARDIS or something like that. You know, obviously we'll be back for the Christmas special as well. But before that, you know, what I'm trying to say is that we just need a couple of weeks to plan some bigger and better stuff and sort of work out what we're doing with that, give ourselves a bit of a break from constantly being in here taking notes and everything, because we have put stuff up constantly now since we started. We had a sort of a bit of a break when I moved house, but that was like a week and a half, and then we had a week off at Christmas, which you still got something because I still had to edit something that we'd filmed as a backup.
Yeah.
So we're not going anywhere, so please don't unsubscribe. In fact, if you haven't, please do subscribe, because then more people will watch us eat chilies and cry. And get drunk and cry.
Yeah.
And go to haunted locations and cry. I haven't put that one to you yet. I came up with that this morning.
Okay.
But it's going to be fun.
We might die.
So
Let's go poke about with some ghosts. Let's go do that.
Find some fucking ghosts.
Have some space buns and tea.
What did you call it? Spooky wooky stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Just basically there's a break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with something in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, see you later. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, and please don't forget to like this video, share the video, and obviously subscribe to the channel, because we wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you very much. And yeah, see you very soon.
Not very soon.
Well, see you soon.
A fortnight maybe.
Yeah.
4 weeks. 6 months. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes.
Hopefully not 6 months.
I'm going on a cruise. I'm not. Subscribe so I can go on a cruise.